Hello. So welcome to this new video. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna implement API with Bloc. So previously implemented Bloc for a basic counter app. So and now what I'm gonna do is implement Bloc with API using HTTP. So first we're gonna create some files and folders. So first we'll create a folder, which is I will name it as repository. So inside this folder, I'm gonna create a file named user repository. This API is gonna list some users, the name of the user, email, and all the things. So I will name it as user repository. So here what I will do is this in this class, I will basically put the base URL and do the API connections and call the data and all the basic functionalities for the API required. So let me add the HTTP package first in the pubspec.yml. Here I will add the HTTP package. So once the package is added, it will import automatically, or you can use pubget to import it. I will allow it to import automatically. The importing is happening right now. So we'll create the class over here and let the importing continue till and let me create this class. So basically, you can increase the speed of this video. It will be better because it's a long video. So first I will create this user repository, then I will declare a base URL and then a function where which I will name it at get user and use the async await. Simple, the basic way how we call HTTP, how we do these HTTP operations in Flutter. So basic thing. So I will declare this base URL. So basically I don't have the base URL, I am using the whole URL for this video only, for this tutorial. So this is the URL, the whole URL, and name it as base URL. And then I will write the function. So okay, I'm here using a list of user model. So I have already created a user model from the JSON. So it will name the function as get user, and then I'll use the async keyword. So here is the user model that I have already created from JSON to Dart. Uh, I haven't shown this because this is basic things that we do all the time while calling API. So here I will store the data that I will first call the API and then I will store the data. So async await and then using the get and I'll use URI.parse and pass the base URL in it. Now we'll check whether the response is successful or not using the status code and then store the value. Now I'll use exception to catch the exception. You can skip this part or you can increase the speed of the video because this will be a very long video. So the representative class is done. So now I will create a block. I will go to the block part of how to like connect a block with the API. So what I will do is first I will basically what I will do inside the block. I have already created one folder previous for the previous video that was counted. So now I will create another folder which I will name as user. So inside the user I will create these three files. So one is user event, one is user state, and one is user block. So I'll do it sequentially because first I will write the code for the event, then I will write the code for the state, and then I will write the code for the block. So okay, I have created the three files. Now I will first go to the event file and here I will write the code for the event. So it's basically the similar way what we did previously. So first I will import the package. So I imported the package equitable.art. So this will be an abstract class, which I will name it as user event, and this will extend equitable as we did it in the previous video. So now I will create another class which I will, what are we going to do in this video? So actually what I'm going to do in this tutorial, actually we are going to load some user. So I will name this class as load user event, and then it will extend the user event class. So inside this we need to override a method that get props. I hope you remember from the previous video. So inside that only an empty top bracket. So this is how the user event class will look like. So what we did an abstract class user event, then we created what will be the event. And now I will type the user state. So again, importing the equitable package. And then I will create the class, which I will name it as user state. And this will again import the like extent of the equitable class. And then we will override the method. Sorry. So now, how many states are gonna be there when there is an API call? So there are three states basically. So one when we are calling, that is loading state. Another one is and loaded state. There can be an error. So there can be an error state. So we'll write three classes for this. So first class will be user loading state, which will extend the user state. Let me first write down the three classes. Okay, so second class will be when the user is loaded. The data are loaded. So here the data is user. So I wrote it user loaded state. And then I will extend it for the same user state. Now there can be an error. Okay. So for that I will write another class which will be an error class. So this is what happens. User error state inside this will be whenever there is an error, we'll write it over here. So first let me write the user loading state. The code inside the user loading state class. So I will copy and paste this override method. That will be what would there in the user loading state. What we basically just put a loader So there is no work over there in user loading state. The basic work it, happens in the user loaded state. So what we'll do here, we will have a variable which will be of type list, and I will name it as user. Now I will declare a constructor and pass the variable, and then I will use this overriding method, and inside this I will pass users. This won't be empty over here, so this will have users. So similarly, we can have this in the error state. Instead of listing the user, we will have a variable which will take the error, and instead of passing the user, we will pass the error. So how we're gonna write it? This is how we're gonna do it. So first I will write this variable, which will be of type string. I'll name it as error, and then I will pass the override method. Uh, Sorry, first constructor and then the override method, and there I'll pass the variable error. So I have so our user state is done, user event is done. So next is user block. So user state, what happens is has three classes: loading state, loaded state, and the error state. So the coding goes accordingly, if according to the each state. This is how we do it while calling a get API. So this is the basically the user state class. Now we'll go to the block. So in block, what we're gonna do is, so we are gonna write a class. I will name it as user block. It will extend block. So what does block takes in? Block takes user event and state. So our event is user event and our state is user state. Okay, so block. So I need to pass the repository over here. I need to create an instance of the repository, user repository. Okay, I will import the block part right now. So what I need to do is I will import the package which will have block. So once the package is imported, so this will have this error will be gone. Now I have to create this super class. So super thing. So what I will do is this is not how I'm gonna do, as I mentioned before. Like this is not how we're gonna do with that super thing. So we'll delete it and I will write it on my own. So first there will be user block. And then there will be I will pass the repository over there, and then it will extend the super. So this is how I'm gonna do it. So you remember the on we used. So on takes in event and emit. So we'll do that. We'll pass the load user event over there. So see, this is how all the things are getting connected. Okay, so this is how the load user event is being used over here, which will have an event and an emit. So it will be written as an async. So inside that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna emit the user state. What is the current user state? That is the loading state. The first user will be loading. First there will be a loading state, and then inside try and catch block we will use call the API. So you are gonna call the API, then store the result on the user, and this will emit the loaded state, the user loaded state. That will the user loaded state that will be emitted on the state, and in the catch block we will write the error part. Like if there is an error, we will emit the error. So this is how the emit works. So once when we are calling the API, if the result comes in, then we'll emit the result. If there is an error, then we'll emit the error. And in the beginning we'll emit the loading state. So we can use now. You will see when we will be using it in the UI class how these things get connected. Okay, so the block is currently completed over here. So user block takes two things, event and state. So our event is user event and our state is user state. And inside the super, we wrote the things and the on, which is an async. So this is how basically the code looks like. So in the UI folder, I will write the user screen. Here I will create a state, not stateless. I need stateful. Sorry for the mistake. I, it is not stateless. I need to delete this. So this will be stateful. Okay, so I will name my class. So it's a user screen. So yeah, it's done right now. So this will be a very basic screen, which will have a list of users, one image that is being given from the API. Simple thing, image and then the name and then email. So in the return, what we're gonna do is we're gonna write, we're gonna pass the provider. So it will be block provider. Yeah, so this is gonna be the part, block provider. And on create, we're gonna pass the context and the user block, which will the block will take the user repository. So once it's done, then we'll add the events that gonna take place. So the event is load user event that is gonna happen over here. Inside the add, we added the loader event and then we added a child. After the child, we have added the block builder, which will take user block and user state. And then we'll take a builder which will have a context and a state. So now we use the state to check the state of the current uh, current state of my application. So if the state is user loading state, so then what we'll do is we'll return a circular progress button. So what we'll do is return a in the center and then a child and then circular progress indicator. Let's keep it basic. And then we will again use another if statement. So I will use the if state. Is we'll check the error part first. Let's check the error part. Okay, so this won't be over here. It would be beside the value versus. So yeah, there. So yeah, if state is a user error state, then what we'll do, we'll print error part. So let's return error part. So we'll return an text, which will just simply say error. So now the main thing we need to do is we need to check if the state is user loaded state. So here, if it's so, then we're gonna use the list view dot build part thing and populate the data on the screen. So first I need to have a list. So, yeah. so, so name it as user list, which contain all the list user list. So I have already the user list in my repository. So state.users we have created over there. So this now user list has all the data. So now we'll return and I will have a list view dot builder. So this dot builder take two things. One is item builder and the one is item count. So in item count, we will pass the users dot length, user list dot length. User list is the variable that we created right now. And here I will use this thing and index. I'll use the index to get all the data from the list. So adding a few paddings and making it few like presentable. So it's symmetric I will use and it's vertical and it's horizontal. So vertical I will give 4 and horizontal I will give 8. This will go. Have a child and I will use list style. Use card inside the card I will use list style. So I'll use the title, subtitle, or text inside that. Yeah, not key. So this is what we do is use a list index and then the first name and then we'll copy it and I will use subtitle and I will use again the user list index dot email. So this one will have a subtitle. That's the reason it is an error. Change it. Right. Okay, so now I will add this leading icon. So I'll use the cycle I have added. Inside that, I will use the URL from the API that I am getting. So I'm using network image over there. So it's avatar. Yeah, avatar. And it will be dot to string. Here's the these text strings. So yeah, that is my user screen. Okay, so this is how the user screen will look like. Basically. So now let me go to the main part, main.dart, where I need to pass the screen so that whenever I call this, whenever I run this application, it will run properly. So yeah, the user screen looks like this. It takes block provider, user state, user repository, user block, and using the state can use this. First we'll check all the state using if, and then the necessary steps needs to be taken. So first we're gonna add the user permission over there in the Android part of the app, Android manifest part. So when I run it, okay, it won't run from here. You need to go to the dart file so that it can run from there. Again, I did the same thing. It won't run from here. Yeah, from here it will run. So what I will do is I will run it from here. Let me check if it's running properly or not. The thing is, it won't run properly because of there's a mistake in the API. You see, this is the error. So all the loaded state has been checked. So loading was done, loaded thing was done, error was checked. Now let us check the loaded part. So I've corrected the API part and run it again. This time it should run. It's taking time. Let me close it and run it again. This time it will run, surely. Hmm. So yeah, it's running perfectly. So this is how we do Bloc with API. Thank you.